Okay. All right. So once again, welcome everybody. My name is Simon from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I'm a 682-3 from Enagic. Been with the company for the last 8 years. Very exciting times, everybody. And I'm truly honored to have this opportunity to host this kind of Zoom session with you guys because, I've probably not met majority of you guys. And we're all connected because of this mothership I call Enagic and this new concept that I created called the enagic 2.0. A lot of people are using it now because I believe that for the first 50 years of the history of enagic, you know, the Kangen machine, the Ukon, all these great products have truly changed our lives. It changed my life. It changed a lot of people's lives, and it dominated the market. However, for the next 50 years of enagic, which I intend to be with the company, who here you intend to be with the company for generations to come? Not just yourself, but your kids. You're gonna get them into the company because this is not something you do it for a year or 2 years and then you find something else. A lot of people, that's what they do with network marketing companies. But for enagic, oh my God, if you meet Mr. Shiro, if you spend some time with Mr. Shiro, I've had the privilege to have a few dinners with the man himself. He is thinking long term, ladies and gentlemen, and it is something that is so rare to see in businesses nowadays. And I really appreciate it, and I'm really so blessed to be in Enagic. Somebody says I'm here to stay. That's right. Okay, so the next 50 years of Enagic, I call it Enagic 2.0. 2.0, 2.0, because it's going to be a very exciting time because you're looking at the company bringing in new incredible products into the company, starting with the emGuarde, Kangen Air, and hopefully more amazing products in the future. And one thing I want to talk about before I go into my Zoom session today is a lot of people, just like myself, when we started Enagic, we associated Enagic with Kangen water, and that was it. And I believe every great company must have a few core products to really dominate the market. So I had to change my mindset that Enagic is not Kangen machine. All right. Enagic is not Kangen machine. Enagic is a philosophy of health, of peace of mind, of financial freedom, of the great values that Mr. Ashur is giving it. And by the way, this video recording is gonna be shared. Yeah, I know the one last we did 2 weeks ago was not shared, but this one will be shared in the Telegram group. Okay, so it's not just a machine. All right, so it is a philosophy, and through this philosophy, products are just a medium to get to the next person because we can't be selling thin air to people. So I believe, Enagic is a company and the products are there to support the growth of the company. And I'm so excited with emGuarde because it's going to truly, truly transform the way we're going to be operating this business. All right. Can somebody just share the Telegram link in the group chat? That would be great. So you can somebody from the support team to share the Telegram link. That would be great. Yeah. So you have to be in the Telegram group because that's where my entire presentation file will be shared. So it's very good. Okay. So I'm sharing all these good stuff with you guys. Nobody's paying me to do this. Okay. So it's gonna be in the group. And then what else? Everything will be in the group. Okay. So let's get into today's meeting, which I'm sure a lot of you are very excited about. So if your friends are not in yet, exactly, Claudia, the Zoom link, sorry, the recording of this Zoom will be shared in the group. Yeah. So great. Very good. Cool. Okay. So if your team, your downlines are not in this call yet, get them in because this is an information they don't want to miss and you don't want them to miss. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at the start of Enagic 2.0. We're looking at emGuarde that is pre-launching in the US. A lot of people have questions. Why is the emGuarde not in the US yet? They're working on the permits. They're working on stuff that Enagic has to deal with. There's nothing to do with distributors like myself and you. But the opportunity here is people who come onto this opportunity now are the pioneers of emGuarde in the market, as simple as that, because it's not even available in the US yet. You go to the Enagic office in Torrance or wherever the Enagic office you're nearest to, it's not even there yet because each product is coming from Malaysia directly to your doorstep. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the pre-launch phase, and the people that loves pre-launch phases are the people that wants to be the first movers of the market. I started doing emGuarde. I started marketing emGuarde, learning about emGuarde way before it was officially launched in Malaysia. And thanks to God and thanks to the efforts of my team, we became like the top three teams selling emGuarde in the whole of Malaysia. So it was great. People who move fast, work fast, they really get the first movers advantage. So what is emGuarde? So today's Zoom session, we're going to be discussing a few things. Now, we have also a very special speaker, very, very good friend of mine. His name is David Chang from Malaysia as well. In fact, we live about 10, 15 minutes away. And he is actually the emGuarde product specialist. And he's going to come in right after my product session to share with you guys more technical information. And what I realized in the Zoom last round was the moment he went more technical, a lot of people left the Zoom session. And let me tell you why that's a big mistake. Some of you may not be technical. Some of you may feel that the information is too much. But let me tell you this, you need it. If you don't need it today, you're going to need it tomorrow. If you don't need it tomorrow, you're going to need it next month. All the information that we're sharing you in this Zoom are critical. You need to know it and go out there into the market. Okay? So do not leave this Zoom until we end it. That's my advice to you, because we've set aside time to run this Zoom. Everything we're sharing here is extremely valuable for the benefit of everybody on this Zoom. Okay? And after that, we're going to actually go into the commission system. How does the 8-point work? And then we're going to close it off. Okay? I'm going to do a mini training and I'm going to close it off. All right? If everybody is ready, give me a number 1 in the chat box, as many ones as possible. Then I know that you're present here with me. Then we're going to go full force. Awesome. All right, so introducing emGuarde's latest patented technology called the emGuarde. And what is the emGuarde? emGuarde stands for electromagnetic guard. So let me ask everybody a question, all 200 of us here. The moment we see people around our family, our kids, our friends and family, and what do they do on the dinner table nowadays? Or what do they do when they're on the subway, or maybe they are taking a ride? What do they do? Everybody is on their phone. We don't talk like we used to do. We don't communicate like we used to do. Everybody's lives are on the phone. And not only that impacts the social part of our lives, it also has a lot of health impacts. And let me tell you this, phones are not the only thing that emits electromagnetic radiation. It includes most of the devices that we use today. And that's why I believe emGuarde, this amazing technology by Enagic, is going to transform the way we view things and how we protect ourselves. Now, the most important fundamental thing that we need to understand when we're talking about emGuarde is the lifestyle changes, because 30 years ago, and I don't know how old are you guys? I'm 30 this year. All right. So I've not been around for a long time. I'm 30 this year. But I remember when I was growing up many years ago, I didn't have all these devices. I didn't have the iPads, the iPhones. I didn't have all these things. So what we had was a football, you go outside and you play. But how are kids living or growing up today? If this is a common phenomenon in your household, type 2 in the chat box. If this is common, they're glued to the phone, they're glued to the iPad, they're glued to the television. Mommy, daddy, I want to play my games. It's a serious thing. It's a serious thing. And if you notice the differences between kids that grow up today and kids that grew up 30 years ago, is there a huge difference? Type 3. Type 3. If there's a huge difference in terms of the way they behave, concentration level, cognitive level, everything. It's so different. All right. So when we talk about electromagnetic radiation, first, around the world, there are different types of pollution. Okay. Depending on where you live. Now, of course, I think most of you guys here are from North America, Canada, US. I believe for most parts of those areas that you guys are living in, you have no issues with the water. The water is clean, but it's not good. That's why you need the Kangen machine, number 1. And the air is probably okay. Noise pollution, government normally controls it. So if you're living in a developed country in a good place, normally you don't have issues with all this kind of pollution, right? However, there is one type of pollution that I tell people, no matter you're living in the worst neighborhood, in the best neighborhood, you're going to be exposed to these type of pollution. It doesn't matter where you are. It is called electromagnetic pollution. Okay, because when you have your Wi-Fi, smart meters, all of these devices, you are exposed. And it is unique because it doesn't directly impact your senses. You can't see it, you can't feel it, you can't smell it, you can't hear it. So it is impossible to detect it without using certain equipments. Impossible. All right. However, there are about 2 to 3% of the population. We call them people with EHS, electro hypersensitivity. These are people, only 2% of the population. These are people, we call them the human detectors because they can actually go to an environment. Okay, let's say that environment has a lot of frequencies, has a lot of cell towers nearby, has a lot of 5G towers nearby. And these are the people that can actually feel it. They get a headache, they feel uncomfortable, they feel weight on their chest, they feel tightness in their veins, they feel nauseous, and they want to leave. So these are the people, in a way, blessed with this kind of senses, but they don't feel like they're blessed. But if you learn about it, they're blessed because they feel it, they go somewhere else. But the rest of us, 98%, we can't feel it, we can't sense it. But we still get the health impacts, okay, of the frequencies and the radiation. All right. So this is a fun fact, and you can look it up. Okay, so where are we getting all our radiation? Where is it coming from? Okay, it's coming from literally everything. Smartphones, televisions, induction cookers, extension cords, EV cars, your EV cars. Don't want to name the brands, but you know which brand. There are many brands, some from the West, some from China. They're growing very big, because we want to reduce reliance on oil. But the thing is, when you have an EV car, electric car, it has humongous battery packs. And when you have humongous battery packs, what do they emit? Not just the energy, but also the radiation. All right. Laptops, air conditioning, lights, microwave, and Wi-Fi routers. And this is in almost every home. I mean, most of you guys are from Canada. AirPods, thank you, Jessica. Does it protect against Wi-Fi smart meter? It does. I'll explain how it does it. Okay. So who here you actually driving EV, electric vehicle type EV in the chat box? Now, I'm not saying anything to badmouth any technology. It's probably great, but it's good to have some awareness about what we're exposed to. Okay. That's all I'm talking about. Okay. So what if, we talked about radiation being invisible to the eye, invisible to the senses. But what if today, wherever that you're tuning in from, some of you guys are in your living room, and what if you can actually see the radiation coming out from your devices? What if you can actually see it? Okay, and it comes out in the form of white lines. My question to you is, if your living room looked like this, would you be at peace sitting there watching Netflix, all right, for 2 to 3 hours? Yes or no? Type that in the chat box. Heck no. Would you allow your a kid, to sit there and watch their favorite cartoon for 2 hours? Okay? Absolutely not. Because the thing is, we will never fear what we can't see. We're always ignorant to things that we can't see. So we do not fear what we can't see. All right? Except for ghost. That's my dad joke. Yeah, except for ghosts. We can't see it, but we fear it. Okay? So now I've spoken to many people around the world. I go to Europe. I travel. Like, in fact, Enagic has invited me twice to go do some tours in Europe, all over Asia. I went to Dubai. I speak about emGuarde to people from my team, outside my team. It doesn't really matter. And I do a lot of trainings for Enagic. And there are some places when I go there, they say, hey, Simon, I've been using phones and all this stuff for many years. I'm fine. I'm very healthy. I got no health challenges. So is it really that dangerous? So some of your customers, or even some of you sitting right in this Zoom with us, is it really that bad? So I always like to share credible sources of where I get my information from. And the first one I like to share is from the WHO, right? The World Health Organization. Now, they came out with this publication about 13 years ago, close to 14 years ago. In 2011, 31st of May, from the IARC, International Agency for Research on Cancer. You can download this on the websites, on Google. And what did they say was they've classified radio frequency electromagnetic fields as possibly carcinogenic to humans, part of group 2B based on the increased risk for glioma, a malignant type of brain cancer associated with wireless phone use. Keyword, wireless. If it's wired, it's not that bad. But because it's wireless, you get more interconnectivity. That's why somebody in the chat box just now spoke about AirPods or EarPods that are wireless. Yeah, so a lot of the people that even myself, I've bought all the EarPods from Gen 1 all the way to the latest gen. And literally, if I'm on a longer call, I would switch it to the wired headphones because there's a lot lesser frequency. Later, you're gonna understand what I mean by that. There's a video that actually shows it. And that's it. So WHO says it. And that's why the emGuarde is important. So how does the emGuarde work? So we know that all our devices emit different types of energy, and specifically 3 types of energy, which David is going to go in depth, right? In depth on how, what kind of energy comes out from our devices and which type of energy that emGuarde harmonizes. Carrie asks, what about hearing aids? I've tested hearing aids, they're pretty low because maybe the voltage that they use or the current they use is quite low. So it's not that bad. But when you talk about EarPods, it's very high. Yeah. So you can test it using the detectors. That's the best way. So what does emGuarde do? So emGuarde utilizes something called multiple layering of harmonic frequencies to effectively suppress targeted electromagnetic noise radiation between a specific range, 3 megahertz to 1,000 megahertz. Now, megahertz means 1 megahertz means 1 million hertz. Mega stands for a million. That is the unit. So 3 million hertz to, I don't know, 10 billion hertz probably. Is that 10 billion? No, a billion hertz. Okay, so 3 megahertz to 1,000 megahertz. And 1 mega is 1 million within a 4-meter radius. Okay, so we're using the imperial system. So it's going to be, most of you guys are going to use the imperial system. So 4 meters is about 12 feet. Okay, so you get 12 feet radius of, what do you call it? Protection, left and right. So if you talk about diameter, it is 8 meters or 24 feet, guaranteed. In fact, some of the places that we have done testing, they actually cover a more than 4 meters radius. But from emGuarde, they are very conservative. As we know it, they say 4 meters. That's the guarantee. Now, this harmonizing method achieves a balanced atmosphere while preserving the natural ambient frequency. What does that mean? It means when the emGuarde, the technology is great in the fact that not only it does what it does, it is great in the fact that when the emGuarde is turned on, it doesn't affect your Wi-Fi, 5G connectivity. It doesn't affect the functions of your devices. It doesn't affect the regular function of your devices. And it suppresses a type of energy called electromagnetic noise radiation. So it is one of those products that you can use it every day and not compromise on something else. It's very, very important. So there was an EMF health effect survey done in 2019. Probably there were tons of it. You know, if you go online, go on Google, they are so, I would use, abundant of information that you can read on EMF, and it's just never ending. So go do your research, and the more you read, the more you learn, and make sure you read from credible sites like perhaps credible associations or maybe even doctors' publication, maybe on PubMed. The more you read, the more you're gonna fear what we're exposed to. So this survey was done in 2019. There was a survey done, and these people, they wanted to survey how many percent of these people attribute certain problems that they're suffering to EMF, and how many percent it's blocking. 88% of the surveyees say their sleeping problem is because of EMF. 89% say their fatigue is because of EMF. 94% attributes their concentration, memory, and learning problem, especially among children, to EMF. Stress and anxiety, and all these things to EMF. And what did you guys notice? During the lockdown period, I don't know if you guys remembered it, our COVID period of about 1 or 2 years, the whole world suffered. And if you notice, a lot of people had developed stress and anxiety. And of course, they have their economic problems and stuff like that. But research has shown that when you spend more hours on your phones and on your around devices, it does attribute to certain psychological effects. All right. I don't know how true is that for you guys over in North America, but that's what happened here in Asia. We saw a spike. Doctors saw a spike in people with stress and anxiety. All right. So that was scary. Okay. Now, Monica said I had my best night sleep ever last night. It was her first night with her emGuarde. Congratulations. So Karen asked, so do you need multiple units in a home? I think so, because the emGuarde normally protects you in one room. Because one of the key questions a lot of people ask is, does emGuarde protrude through the walls? Answer is yes or no. It depends on what is in between the wall. If there are metal beams, electric cables within the wall, it tends to block the harmonics of the emGuarde. But if it's just a concrete wall, plaster wall, brick wall, it actually goes through. So it really depends on the way your house is set up. Okay. Ceiling, sometimes it does, most of the time it doesn't, because you have cables and wiring in between your ceilings. Okay. So you normally need, if you're living on a double level, two-story housing, so you should have a couple units up, a couple units down. Okay. So now this was a big news. Specifically, it came out in September 2023. Anybody is aware of this news? Type 1 in the chat box. If this is news to you, type 2 in the chat box. Type 2 if this is news to you. France, back in September 2023, halts iPhone 12 sales over radiation levels. Incredible, right? All right. And this was huge news, but I was surprised how many people didn't know about it. Okay. And you can find it on the BBC, most of the huge networks, and you'll see it. And the thing is this, for a government to issue such a not just a statement, but a action against a certain company, against a certain product, it must mean something. Apple's a big company. All right. So there are genuine concerns, and manufacturers are under scrutiny to make sure that radiation levels do not exceed a certain exposure limit. But let me ask you this question. Even if they operate within the exposure limit, but the thing is, the amount of time we spend on our devices and the amount of time we expose ourselves really makes the exposure limit non-existent. You know why? Because we're not supposed to be using it so much. Okay, and let me share with you something. Now, who here you're using iPhones? Okay, if you're using iPhone, let's do this exercise together. I want everybody to whip out their iPhone. This is only for iPhone because the other brands, I'm not sure where they put the notice. So if you have your iPhone, okay, if you have an iPhone, can everybody go to your general? Okay, everybody go to your general. Okay, sorry, settings first. Go to your settings, then go to your general. Are you guys there? Good. So once you're there, and when you scroll all the way down, you would see something called legal and regulatory. Click on that. Okay. And then you will see the fourth button called RF exposure. Do you see it? If you're there, type ME in the chat box. Type ME if you're there. Great. Click on it and read it when you have time. But what you will see in that notice is even Apple themselves say in their exclusion legal clause, to reduce exposure to RF energy, please use a hands-free option such as built-in speakerphone, which means Apple is telling you to reduce exposure, speak on the phone like this. Yeah, not like this and like this, or headphones or other similar accessories. So what happens when you guys get a phone call? What do? You put it next to your head. And what happens after 10 minutes? You're talking to your friend, maybe you're closing an emGuarde sale, Kangen sale. What happens? Okay, it heats up. All right. And what happens after it heats up? What happens? What happens? You start to sweat a little bit, right? Who has experienced this before? Type 1 in the chat box. It heats up, right? This side of your face just heats up, really hot. And what do you do? What do you do after that? Can somebody tell me what do they do after? Do you put down the phone and say, I'll call you back in 10 minutes? No. What do? You switch over to the other side, right? So it's like, I tell people, it's like you're searing a beautiful steak May says she keeps talking. It's like you're searing a beautiful steak, and when one side is nice and crisp, you go to the other side, and on the middle you have a nice medium rare. All right, that's what it is. Okay, because if you read about the energy coming out from our phones, it is actually coming out in wattage, and it's actually energy that can heat it up. You're basically cooking your brains. Yeah, so it's scary, when we really learn about it. Okay, so those are. I mean, I have a ton more information, but I like to keep things very simple and short. But if you read about it, there's a lot of information on how EMR can affect you. And now we go into the exciting part, where how do we actually know how other people? So how do we know how much radiation is coming from this and that, and how do we actually test it? So the first thing we use is the RD9300, which is available on sale from Malaysia. And I understand there's a backlog or something because I think the orders have been incredible. So it's taking a bit of time for some of you to order your device, but it's okay because in this Zoom, we share a few methods, a few tools that you guys can use to measure. So this is not the only one, but it's a good one. So the RD9300. Now, there are two dot setting in the RD9300. The first one is for low hertz. So that is to make sure that there's current in your sockets. So we don't really use that for the demo. We use it for the two dot. And why particularly? A lot of people ask questions, particularly on the detector. Why can't I buy a detector from Amazon from another company? Why must it be this from emGuarde? All right. So the short answer is this. David will do a more in-depth, in detail explanation, but the simple answer is the RD9300 measures electromagnetic noise radiation, which is the type of energy that emGuarde is designed to suppress, from 3 to 1000 megahertz. So it is a special tool designed to do the emGuarde demo. So when people ask you, is the RD9300 designed to do the emGuarde demo? The answer is yes, and that is the honest truth. That's why you're not supposed to use something else, because most of the detectors in the market measure different things, and they measure frequencies beyond the range that emGuarde can suppress. Are you guys following? If I'm a detector manufacturer, I would want to manufacture a detector that can measure up to 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 megahertz. All right. But when you turn on the emGuarde only harmonizes targeted frequency up to 1,000. So let's say I have a detector that I buy from eBay and it measures up to 20,000 megahertz. I turn on the emGuarde. Does it reduce the reading on my detector? Answer is no, because any frequency that is above 1,000 is still there. Are you guys following so far? All right. That is a quick summarized version of why you shouldn't waste your money to get other detectors, because emGuarde is a unique technology. You need specific tools to measure it. Okay. And the more we understand it, the more we can explain it well. Okay. Now, the second thing is it will identify when you're protected by emGuarde. Okay, these are the two functions of the RD. Okay, so some people are like, the moment when I use the RD, some people are like, okay, is there another way to show it? Because it's clear that the RD is the specification of the RD is for the emGuarde. So is there another tool? Definitely. So I always suggest to use both the tools that I'll be talking about in today's Zoom, and it's a guaranteed success, guaranteed sale, almost. Okay. Now let's watch a short video after this, and to understand that what the RD9300 is picking up. Now the RD9300, when you scan it with the ring, right? There's a ring, right? You can see there's a ring. You hold it, and you scan it. It measures something called power density, and the power density on the RD is measured in microwatts. That's what the symbol measures below the numbers, microwatts per cm square. So those of you who have the RD, you would notice that the RD has to go really near to your devices for it to come up with a reading. Now, some people also ask me, Simon, does it mean when I'm away from it, the reading is not high, I'm safe? Answer is no, because it depends on how the detector is built. Because this RD is built to measure cm square means you have to go really near to pick it up. The reason for that is, let's say you have your laptop here set up, you have your phone set up here, you have your extension cords set up here. if the range is meter square, if I turn on the RD, it just rings. And we don't know where exactly it's coming from. Are you guys following? Type 1 if you're following. So they actually made it into cm square so that we have to go very close to know which are the devices emitting higher energy. In fact, when you have your phone in your room, the frequencies from your phone travels from 3 feet all the way to 10 feet. Okay? So it doesn't mean that it has to be next to your ear for you to get affected. So that's a very important point that you guys need to understand. Okay? So this was a chart that we extracted from the FCC. FCC is from you guys, is from the US, and they govern all electronic products. And they say that long-term exposure to RF devices, right? RF devices means anything that has frequencies. If it emits 0 to 200 microwatts, it is at its acceptable range. But anything above 200, 1,000, 2,000, it is actually above the limit based on the FCC exposure safety limit. That is the link. You guys can copy it, where you guys can actually read the full report on how they derive these numbers. Okay, so let's watch a short video that I made. It's not a professionally done video, but it's pretty good. So let's watch this video. Katie asked a question. Before I play the video, do you ever have people ask and say it's a scam since you can't use other detectors? Definitely. There are people that say that, you know, that you can only use the detector you provide. So it's a scam, it doesn't work. Okay, so that's why you have to use the other tools. And there are other things that you can show to them and you can do to also show that emGuarde is definitely not a scam. So step by step, we're going to go through it in this Zoom today.
RD9300 radiation detector. It has two settings. The 1 dot setting measures low frequency 50 to 60 Hz. For the emGuarde demo, you want to be using the 2 dot setting, which measures high frequency of 3 MHz to 1000 MHz. When you turn on the RD, make sure to switch it to a 2 dot setting before you do your emGuarde demo. Let's take a look at the next clip. Now in front of me, I have the regular devices that I use every single day. Now with the help of a special tool, we're able to find out exactly how much radiation is coming out of these devices. Now notice, anything above 200 is considered high levels of radiation. So let's turn it on. I'm going to put it next to the laptop, and as you can see, the reading is well above 200. These are for your laptops. Now I'm going to come over here to the tablets, which I use every single day. And here we have with me my phone. Let's take a look. Now just imagine the harm you could be doing to your body when you pick up the phone and you start talking on the phone while it's next to your ears. Now, knowing all this, you should definitely consider reducing the usage, especially among children. But let's be real. In the world that we live in today, it is almost impossible to live without these devices. Now, those of you like me who use wireless earpods regularly to speak on the phone or listen to music while you're having a jog, you have to see this. Now, when I flip it open, it shows a reading on the detector. But the moment I put them onto my ears, let's check it out. Take a look at that. The reading coming off while it's being connected to my ears and to my phone is significantly higher. All right. Now, I know that some of you have already decided to reduce the usage of these devices. But let me show you something. Now, in an environment like this, looking peaceful and balanced, however, there are actually still fundamental radiation that lurks around. Introducing emGuarde, a patented technology by enagic. When turned on, emGuarde harmonizes targeted electromagnetic noise radiation within 1000 MHz, creating a defense zone of 8 meters. Simply place it at a suitable area and plug it into a dedicated 5V 2 to 6A output power source. Now with the emGuarde turned on, let's get...
All right. So did you guys like that short video? In fact, if you want the full demo, I've actually recorded a full emGuarde demo, about 8.5 minutes, I believe. If you guys would like that, it is in the Telegram group. Okay, I just posted it. I literally just posted it. So go into the Telegram group. You're gonna find my latest demo. Somebody's asking the link to the Telegram group again. Okay, you can actually search the Telegram group emGuarde official. Wait, I think it's emGuarde official or something like that. Let me find emGuarde official channel. Okay, emGuarde official channel. All right, good. So, all right. So if somebody can post the link, great. Okay, so this is the emGuarde, ladies and gentlemen. Just a quick product spec. It harmonizes the radiation up to 1000. We discussed that with an 8-meter coverage, designed to reduce negative effects of electromagnetic waves and ensuring a safe and harmonious environment. Yeah. Me personally, in my home, I have about 4 units, 3 set up in the house, 1 for the travel. That's me. Because when I saw emGuarde about a year and a half ago, I bought 3. I subsequently bought another one for the travel and for doing demonstrations. Okay. So I'm going to share with you guys another quick video because this is a very, very important video, especially for those of you who have kids at home, those of you who have young kids. And I think you need to hear this because it's by a very popular doctor here in Malaysia, and he knows he's a health expert. He's into integrative medicine, functional integrative medicine. He's also a lecturer in across Asia, Dr. Satvinder Singh, and he talks about how radiation affects kids much more than adults. So let's hear it out from him.
The children's brain, like the hypothalamus, it tends to absorb 1.5 to 2 times more electromagnetic fields than an adult. But if you look at the child's bone marrow, it absorbs an amazing 10 times more electromagnetic radiation than an adult. The brain is much more absorbent, the skull is thinner, and because the relative size is smaller, if I give you the same dosage, your smaller tissue is going to absorb more than the bigger tissue. The first thing you have to do is keep the appliance that's emitting the radiation further apart from you, like handphones, off all power points when they're not in use. Number 3, you could use electromagnetic field harmonizers, which will balance out the radiation side effects from the appliance.
All right, so that's a quick one to talk about why we should protect the kids. Yeah. All right. Good. Okay. Now, remember, emGuarde protects you from a specific range of frequency. Can somebody write that down in the chat box? What is the range of frequency, not the coverage range of the emGuarde? The range of frequency that emGuarde protects you. Can somebody write that down in the chat box? Just as a refresher. What is the range of frequencies that emGuarde exactly? Okay, so it is 3 to 1000 megahertz. Thank you very much. Okay, now why 3 to 1000? Because again, how the emGuarde was built was based on a lot of research and years of cultivating a device that can actually work the way it's working today. And one of the key researchers is the FCC Exposure Limit Bulletin that came out in 1997, many years ago. And in this bulletin, they actually look at the human body. What they say was the human body actually absorbs radio frequency energy at some frequencies more effectively than others. And that range is 30 to 300 megahertz, where the whole body absorption of RF energy is the most efficient. Now, if you're reading this report, you would think that it's a good thing because they used words like restrictive limit, they use words like efficient, but what it actually means is we absorb a lot of the energy, radiation energy, coming out from our devices when they're in 30 to 300 megahertz. And that's bad news. Unless you're like Incredible Hulk that you live on gamma ray radiation, you don't want to be absorbing radiation. All right. So this came out in 1997. So 30 to 300 is the most sensitive or vulnerable range, all right, that our body absorbs. And the reason for that is, you see, the organs, our organs also have a operating frequency where we vibrate at. So our whole body vibrates at a certain frequency. And this is actually a frequency table of body organs. And they talk about what is the frequency of each of our organ. So the most important organs. So we have the brain, the body, the heart, the liver, the pancreas, and you can see most of these frequency, they're in between 55 megahertz, and the highest is at 90 megahertz. So the brain frequency ranges from 72 to 90. Now, if you're Albert Einstein, probably you're at 90. They vibrate at a higher level. That's why they're smart. So normal people like me probably have 72. Okay, so you can see that our body's frequency is between 55 to 90. And one way you can actually find this out is go into a hospital and check out what they use for MRI. MRI literally means resonance, because when you have resonance, they actually use the same frequency onto your body to print out a copy of your organs and how your body looks like on the inside. They match the vibration energy of your organs. So let me ask everybody a question. Out of all these organs that you're seeing, okay, all these organs that you're seeing, okay, which is the most important organ in the body? What would you say? They're all important. You can't live without most of them. But which would you say is the most important? Yeah, some people say the heart. Absolutely, heart is very important. But I would say it's the brain, because you know, some people say they can't see what you're looking at. So I think you should just exit and rejoin the Zoom. Some people, they can't seem to see my slides. I think most of you can see it, right? So if you can't see my slides, just exit and come back in. Yeah. Okay. So the brain is the most important thing, because it is the main organ that regulates the whole body, the way we sleep, the what do you call melatonin production that helps people sleep, everything, your hormones, your mood, everything is regulated by the brain. So the 72 megahertz is one of the most important frequency we talk about. And I'm going to show you a video that explains what is co-resonance. So let's watch this video. I'm going to turn off the music. So if you look at this, there's this guy, teacher looking guy, and he's using two tuning forks to show an experiment called co-frequency resonance. So the first fork, when you hit it, it sends out 512 hertz of frequency. The other fork's at 440. So if you look at the first experiment, when they are not in the same frequency, they're not in sync, nothing happens. But the moment they are in sync, because they use the same frequency, okay, it literally vibrates the other side without touching it. So this explains to a lot of people. Just because you're not touching your phone doesn't mean it's not affecting you, because frequencies travel. And when you have matching frequency, they call it resonance. That's what they use in MRIs. It leads to increase of vibration. And that is bad news. So one of the ways that you guys can start immediately today, those of you that don't have your RD, and those of you who want a third-party tool, the keyword is third-party, because the next tool I'm going to introduce to you is a tool powerful enough to show you what is the electromagnetic noise level in your environment. And you can actually measure it. How high is it? And how can emGuarde actually suppress it? It's called the SDR Touch application. Unfortunately, it's only on Android. It's not on Apple. So what I did was I had to buy a Samsung phone and get this whole thing set up. And if you want to know how to download the app, how to set up the app, how to get the antenna, the accessory that has to go with the application, because you can't just download the app without the antenna, because the antenna measures it. So everything is in the Telegram group. It even comes with the instruction video. Everything is there. The support team of emGuarde did an incredible job. So go to the Android, the Telegram group and do your study there. But what I'm gonna show you is a video. This is called the SDR that I shot with David many months ago in Hong Kong, where they were already using 5G. And it was in our hotel room. And the story was like this. When we walked into the room, we felt like it feels a little bit different from the other rooms. And we realized that because this room is directly facing outside, very near all the 5G and cell towers, the other rooms were facing on the inside. So it's not that bad. So we immediately whipped out all our tools and we wanted to do some testing. And the first thing we whipped out was the RD, and the second one was the SDR. So let's take a look. This is called the SDR software, and it's gonna actually detect the electromagnetic interference in this area. So what David is going to do now, he's going to actually turn on the software. You can download this software on your Android phone. You just have to pay a couple dollars, you get the software. So I want you guys to see. Just zoom in on the phone, Ben. You can just take a look at this.
I don't know if you guys can hear it. So the software is connected to a dongle that connects to an antenna, and the antenna is receiving the interference around this room. It's unbelievable. Take a look at the chart. It is crazy, absolutely crazy.
Take a look at
You'll
it.
not see this anywhere else. Okay. So now what we want to find out is if we have the emGuarde, what can it do to us and what can it do for us? So it's not connected. Now I'm going to put next to the SDR software. I'm going to turn it on in 3, 2, 1. Look at the wave spectrum. It's gone down. I'm going to unplug the emGuarde. Right.
Talk about this suppression.
All right. Take a look at the suppression, guys. Here, take a look at the suppression. Boom. With the emGuarde turned on. If you guys are watching this, I want you guys to bring.
All right, so I'm gonna bring you guys to a specific scene. Can you see on the y-axis, means on the vertical bar, there is 4074 megahertz on the top. Okay, now this app needs to be tuned. And in this scenario, we actually tune it to 72 megahertz. But what you see there, 4074 is the decimals. 72 point number 4074 megahertz. So it was tuned to 72 point something. All right. So what we did was we tuned to the frequency that matches the brain, and that is the pollution level in that room. It was incredible. It was one of the first few times I saw that tool. I was using the RD most of the time, but when I went to Hong Kong and David had the tool with him, and I said, let's whip it out and let's see. And I was like, it's crazy. So the room was very clean, everything was good, but when you whip out the app, you truly see how polluted your environment is. Joseph, once again, when you have the emGuarde turned on, it doesn't disrupt cell phone conversation. And Ben, can I request you to send the FAQ document into the chat box? Yeah, somebody from the emGuarde support team. There's a FAQ document to send it into the chat box. You guys download it, read it. Most of your questions are inside anyways. Okay, now the next one I'm going to share with you is called the BAJE SDR. So what is the BAJE SDR? It is the same detection tool as the SDR software, but it is for people that does not have a Samsung or Android phone. Okay, so you can actually get one of these devices. It is like the SDR application, but it is built into a detector. So it's very convenient. Yeah, I have all of them. I suggest that you get all of them. It is another great marketing tool without the need to attach it to an Android phone to showcase the suppression of the noise radiation in the environment. Okay, so you can get all these online. enagic doesn't sell it. It's from third party. So just maybe put it on eBay or Amazon. You'll probably find some people selling it. And once again, how to set it up, it's in the Telegram.
Hi everyone, today I'm very excited to share with you another great marketing tool that you can use for your emGuarde demo. It's called the BAJE SDR detector. And what I love about this detector is it has a big screen and it's very easy to set up and use. It's not affected by static interference. And it also has a loudspeaker for you to use during your emGuarde demo. You'll know what I'm talking about later on. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna introduce David right there. David, say hi to the camera. Hello. All right, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a before and after emGuarde test using the BAJE. All right, and I want you to see the difference on the screen. So I'm gonna turn on the detector. And once it's turned on, the first thing you can see is this waterfall spectrum that comes down. And what you will notice is I've actually tuned the BAJE to 72 megahertz because that is the operating frequency of our brain. And you would notice the noise radiation level here via the dB scale. All right. And these are all the data of the noise radiation. So I'm also going to turn on the speaker for you guys to hear. All right, and in the count of 3, David is going to turn on the emGuarde, and I want you guys to see the difference. In 3, 2, 1, go. Take a look at that. All right, so what you will notice is instantly the dB scale noise level has reduced and the green color wave spectrum has already been cleared to a very dark blue color, which means this area is cleared off of the noise interference. All right, so let's do another test. Let's pull out the emGuarde again, turn it off, and you would see everything comes back instantly. And now with the emGuarde turned on again, you would see instantly the results. So this is simply amazing, right? Now the Bajaj is able to really showcase what the brain and our organs are going through every single day, and it's able to convert something that is invisible into something that we can see and experience. All right, so this is the short demo for the Bajaj SDR detector. All right.
Okay, did you guys get that? Did you guys like it? Type 1 if you guys understood what was happening in the whole video. Okay, so there were a few things that was happening. Okay, and it's amazing. Like when you use these kind of tools and you tune it to the brain frequency, which is the most important frequency, it's incredible. Okay, some people have asked again and again. I have to repeat myself. The SDR hardware, everything, go to the Telegram group, go to pin messages. There is something called pin messages, is on the top. Press all the way. There's about 10 pin messages. The messages that are pinned are all the important ones. Get to the SDR, you will see it, and then that's where it is. Okay. And somebody asks, Bob, Amy, where are we going to share this recorded Zoom Telegram group again? Okay, everything Telegram. Okay, now, so somebody has asked, did enagic do any testing on which phone emits most radiation? I don't think enagic will ever do that. They're not going to expose the company that way. So let's do it ourselves. Okay, so key benefits of emGuarde, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the whole emGuarde product, again, it was built on a lot of data from the FCC, and Dr. Magda, which is a very, very important figure in the field of radiation in Canada. She's actually Canadian. Look her up, Magda Harvest, and she's a Canadian researcher and professor. She researches and teaches in areas of environmental and health effects of electromagnetic pollution. And she wants to find out exactly the biological effects of electromagnetic radiation on our body. Now, we can talk about frequency. We can talk about the waves. You can see the waves going up and with the emGuarde going down. But at the end of the day, how does it affect us? And how does emGuarde help us? That is the most important question. And bear in mind, this whole presentation that I'm doing for you guys is more of a training presentation. It's not a sales presentation. So it's more for you guys to have all the information. A sales presentation would be much less complicated than this. Okay, that's what I have to tell you. So what Dr. Magda researches, you can find this on her website. She says there is something called rouleau formation, Rouleaux. It's a French word, rouleau formation. That is when your blood cells clump together, right? In fact, in a healthy red blood cell in a clean EMI environment, in the bottom, it looks something like this. Your blood cells are supposed to be free flowing, active, okay? But the moment we expose ourselves to about 70 minutes of computer usage, the rouleau formation comes and your blood cell starts to stick together. 10 minutes on your wireless mobile phone, the rouleau formation gets even worse. My question to you is this: when your blood comes and stick together, is that good news or bad news? Type that in the chat box. Is it good news or bad news? When it sticks. The thing is, we don't want it to stick. Why? The moment your blood cells start to stack one on top of each other, the surface area of the oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange reduces because it's stacking. And that happens when you use it on your computer and your phone. And according to Dr. Magda, this is the same type of blood formation. They call it sticky blood in a diabetic or cancer patient. Now, I'm a perfectly healthy human being, but the thing is, I can get this type of blood formation by overusing my devices. And a simple way that you can detect it is, who here, you like to probably watch YouTube videos or whatever, TikTok, Instagram on your phone, and the moment you use it for a long time, what happens to your fingertips? What happens? It starts to numb. All right, it starts to numb. And that is because the rouleau formation has started to form on your fingertips. And it happens on your fingertips, it happens on your eyes, it happens on your whole body. So what happens is poor circulation, low oxygen transport, reduced waste removal, headache, fatigue, difficulty concentrating, numbness, tingling, and cold extremities. All right. And I want you guys to see this incredible experiment that I did in Malaysia with my team. I did it for about 30 people. This was absolutely insane. Now, this was 20 minutes after mobile phone usage on the left, before the emGuarde. The subject, he was a male in his late 60s, no health challenges, very healthy. And 20 minutes by using his phone, he was on the YouTube. And this was his blood formation when the doctor took out the blood. And on the right side is he continues to use his phone for 20 minutes with the YouTube on, same controlled experiment, but with the emGuarde turned on. Is that incredible? When I saw this, I did it, but I didn't document it. That's my mistake. So I'm going to actually do it again, maybe when I have time. But he actually documented it, and it was like incredible. I had the same result. All right. Everybody's blood is a little bit different. And let me tell you who are the people that you will see a huge difference. People who spend a lot of time on the computer, people who work in the office in a 9 to 5, where they are in a computer, when they have phones, when they are blasted with LED lights, air conditioning the whole day. You would see the huge difference before and after emGuarde. And people that you will see lesser difference are people who are more active and people who drinks a lot of Kangen water, less, but still it's there. Who here you really like what you're seeing? Type 1 in the chat box, because a lot of people ask me, so what is the benefit of emGuarde after talking about frequencies and and all these things? Now the thing is, I have to talk about the frequency and all this boring stuff for you guys to understand, how the emGuarde actually works. All right. So for you to understand how it's doing what it's doing. Okay, so it's incredible. So the key features of emGuarde is easy integration. It has a great coverage, 8 meters, versatile use, Type-C. So the emGuarde doesn't come with a plug. It comes with a Type-C cable. Okay, so the cable means it's very portable. You can put it into your car. You can put it on the plane or anywhere that you're going. Some people like to ask the same question, which is, can I use it with power banks? Answer is not really. Why? Because power banks has some of them, their current is not stable. It's up and down. So the coverage range is affected when the current is not strong. So we always recommend you to put it on a stable current straight from the socket. If possible, don't use extension cords. It depends on the quality. But power banks, definitely no. Unless you're alone and you're outside and you just want it for yourself, you can use it. And just make sure it uses the correct output, which is 5V 2 to 6 amperage. Find the FAQ sheet, everything is inside. One device, big coverage, low running cost, and no maintenance. So when you set up I'm going to speed up a little bit because of time. So when you set up the emGuarde, make sure you don't put it in areas that has high static interference. Put it about half a meter or a meter away so that you're not affected by the static of these kind of appliances. And don't install the emGuarde directly on the floor, because sometimes you don't know what is beneath your floor. It could be carpet, which stores static. If it's wood, below it could have cables. It could have certain things that affects the emGuarde. So we always advise people to put the emGuarde on the box. That is the best. Okay. So where do you need to put the emGuarde? So some people ask, how many units do I need for my home? Honestly, because the coverage range may be really good, but once again, sometimes it is limited by the walls that are in your house. Okay. So you need the emGuarde in your home office. Very important. You spend a lot of time in your office, your living room, your bedroom, your work office, restaurant, workroom, car, vehicle, and most importantly, kids' room, because kids' room, nowadays, you have air conditioning, you have baby monitors, you have certain things inside that emits radiation. And we heard about how kids actually absorb a lot more of it. So very important. So if you ask me, honestly speaking, you have to get a few. All right. Some of you may start with 1 or 2. That's fine. Do what you need to do. But I measured my home. I need about 3 at a minimum. And I have 1 more for the travel. So that's me. Because I travel a lot, take a lot of flights. And those of you who travel a lot and take a lot of flights, who here you travel a lot, you go on planes a lot. And let me ask you guys a question. Those of you who travel a lot, which part of the plane has the most amount of radiation? What's the answer? Which part of the plane? Which part? Plane is like, okay, which part? of the plane has the highest level of radiation? Okay. All right. So some people are saying the wings, the back. Of course, the wings have the engine and all that, but we're not affected because it's pretty far. It is the front. It is the cockpit because that's where all the telecommunication systems are. That's where a lot of things. Katie asked, can we get through airport security? Absolutely, yes. I do it all the time. So it is the front that has the highest level of radiation. All right. That's why I tell people the only reason why I'm not in business class or first class is because the radiation level is very high. That is my excuse. Okay. So that's why I'm in economy. All right. So people start to laugh. That's just an excuse. But definitely the front is more. But if you're sitting in economy, what happens is you have the chair, the nice comfy chair, and you have a screen right behind your head, right? So that emits radiation as well. So when you travel, please bring your emGuarde. Okay. So that is the emGuarde, ladies and gentlemen. There's a new tagline that came out. It's called Change Your Environment, Change Your Life. We know for Kangen, change your water, change your life, change your environment, change your life. And I hope you guys gotten a lot of value, but don't go yet because, okay, so the retail price for the emGuarde, currently all of you that are getting the, what do you call that? There is no battery in the emGuarde, so you don't charge the emGuarde. You plug it to power it on. Okay, so there's no battery in the emGuarde. You plug it and you turn it on. So now all of you who here, you want to get your emGuarde, type me in the chat box. If you already want to get it, maybe you just came onto this Zoom to just learn more or whatever. So good. So if you want to get it, the steps to get it is on your DSS. Okay, it's on your DSS. There's no financing because you're buying it from Malaysia at the moment. So go into your DSS, you will see a emGuarde column, an emGuarde button. Click on it. All the ordering process is on your DSS. Okay, go look it up. So one emGuarde is 6,620 ringgit. That translates to 1,480 US dollars, depending on the exchange rate. So Jolene Smith asks, what is the difference between emGuarde and other competition? That's a very, very good question. So I'll let David do the talking for that. Okay. So that's a very, very good question. So I'm going to come back. And for now, I'm going to introduce the next speaker because he's going to do a very important session for you guys on why everybody needs the emGuarde. And he is the product specialist. And let us all welcome, ladies and gentlemen, for the next session, emGuarde product specialist, Mr. David Chang. Let's give him our warm welcome. David, are you?
Yep. Thank you very much, Simon, for the great introduction. Okay. Now, hello, energic family from the US. And my name is David, and I'm actually the product specialist for the emGuarde project. First of all, I would like to thank Energic USA for having me in this Zoom call so that I can actually provide a greater clarity on some of the technical terms that you should use or the proper description that you should use during your emGuarde demonstration. Okay, so before I start my session today, which is a very short one, let me just give you a brief introduction about myself. I've been working very closely with the emGuarde developer for the past 6.5 years. All right, very fortunate. And before Energic decided to take over the tech and to actually market it globally, you know. And earlier on, I think there is someone asking from the chat box, is there any competitor products in the market? You know, and the answer is no, because basically emGuarde is a patented technology, and Energic actually holds the right to market this technology worldwide, and Energic is the one and only company in the world that actually has the right to market the emGuarde technology. So the answer is no, there is no competition to the emGuarde, and that's the good news, you know, for the marketers to sell something without any competitors. All right. So now a bit about myself, why I spent 6.5 years researching into this topic, radiation. And it's actually because of one very personal story of myself. And I lost my mom when I was a little child. Back then I was only 5 years old. And we used to live very close to this power station, you know, in Malaysia. And I've always been having this thought that could it be the radiation, you know, from this power station or the power lines nearby. And as I grew up, I did lots of research, and I found out that there is actually a lot of documentation talking about this topic, and later on, hence leading to my interest to dig deeper into this radiation topics. Okay, so what I have for you here today, it's actually a very technical slides. Now, in terms of sales and marketing executions in eNergic, we do not encourage you to actually, be too technical, because when you're too technical, you might be able to kill the sale, sometimes. Okay, so being too technical, it's a bad thing. All right, you do not want to be too technical in the sense, but anyway, when you go into the marketplace, you're about to meet very technical people, whether is it Kangen water business or even for the emGuarde business. Now, these technical people requires a more proper technical answers where it actually makes sense, to them. So because of that, we have actually specially prepared this particular training so that you're able to fight these objections, through a more proper answer. Okay, so let's dive into the training. Let me share the slides here. All right. Okay, if let's say you can see my slide clearly, can I see number 1 on the chat box? Just type in 1 on the chat box and let's begin. Okay, so this is the emGuarde empowerment training. All right, and these are the topics I'll be covering today. And one of the most important topics that I'll be covering today is actually the type of radiation and how emGuarde actually works in a more in-depth manner. And of course, mastering the demonstration tool is also very important, because the demonstration tool is what we need, to show value to the customers. And laboratory test report, and followed by leveraging marketing resources. Okay, so the first topic of the day is actually the type of electromagnetic radiation. Now, to make it very simple, there's only 2 categories in the electromagnetic radiation spectrum. Okay, it's either the ionizing radiation, which I see there is one guy, David Carter, was asking about this radiation, nuclear and all that. Now, those nuclear radiation is actually falls under the ionizing radiation category. Okay, and for that, emGuarde is not addressing this issue, because the ionizing radiation is way above emGuarde's, power to actually harmonize it. So today we are here to focus on the non-ionizing radiation spectrum. Now, the non-ionizing radiation spectrum is something that we expose from a day-to-day basis. Whenever you use your devices like your handphone or your electric appliances. Now, these appliances, they will radiate the non-ionizing radiation category. Okay, so now there is an argument in the internet saying that the non-ionizing radiation is not actually harmful. If let's say you're exposing yourself to the NIR, it is not harmful. And again, documentation-based conversation. All right, there's an article in PubMed, and I would like to highlight the point. It's published back in the year 2017, right, by the same doctor that Simon mentioned earlier on, Dr. Magda Havas. And in this article, something very interesting. Evidence of free radical damage has been repeatedly documented among humans, animals, plants, and microorganisms. And in this article, she's actually referring to the NIR, okay, which represents non-ionizing radiation interferes, okay, with the oxidative repair mechanism, resulting in oxidative stress, damage to cellular components, including DNAs and stuff like that. All right, so this is actually an article to confirm that the NIR is actually doing something, biologically. That's the reason why the emGuarde is built, right? It is built to address this day-to-day exposure to the non-ionizing radiation. All right. Now, the second training, how does emGuarde actually works in a more technical way? Okay. Now, to keep it simple, I've actually dissected the non-ionizing radiation into 3 different energy. Earlier on, Simon mentioned that I will be explaining and elaborating on the 3 energy, and this is the slide that you need to take note. Okay. So within the non-ionizing radiation category, there is 3 types of energy, and I call it the 3 categories of energy. Now, the first energy normally comes from the power line, okay, which is the lower frequency, 50-60 hertz, electric and magnetic field from the power lines. The second energy usually comes from signal transmission radiation, okay, generated by antennas, from devices with antennas like Wi-Fi routers or your mobile phone. All right. Now, these two radiation, it's lurking in our background from a day-to-day basis. All right. But emGuarde is not built to address the first two energy. Okay. So in short, when you turn on the emGuarde, it's not going to affect the electricity power. It is not going to affect the signal transmission energy coming from all types of antenna, including your Wi-Fi and your mobile phone. There's reason why when you turn on the emGuarde, your phone can still operate normally without affecting the transmission signal. Now instead, emGuarde is built to address the third energy. And what you're seeing here, it's the electromagnetic noise energy. Okay? And this radiation, normally, it's actually a byproduct from the first two energy. It is a byproduct from the electromagnetic field and also a byproduct from the signal transmission radiation. All right, now let me give you a clearer picture. Let's say this is a typical home that you're living in. Okay, so whenever we turn on the electricity, when the electricity flows, along the cables, it produces the first energy coming from the power lines. All right, now whenever you turn on wireless devices like the routers, or your handphones, it generates the second energy in your house. Okay, and this is called the signal transmission radiation. Now, these two energy will then produce a byproduct known as the electromagnetic noise radiation. Okay, and this byproduct is something that your ears cannot hear, your skin, you cannot feel it unless you are within the category of the EHS community. We call it the electro hypersensitivity crowd. Okay, these people, they feel it, more intensely as compared to the regular person like you and I. All right. Now, emGuarde, it's specifically built to address the byproduct of the radiation. Let me show it to you. So when you install the emGuarde in the house and within the 4-meter radius coverage range, it is able to suppress targeted electromagnetic noise radiation. Hence, preserving the original or ambient frequencies from the Wi-Fi and of course your 4G, 5G data and also your electricity as well. It's not going to affect this, all right? At the same time, it is suppressing the negative effects, from the electromagnetic noise radiation. Now, to put you into clearer perspective, earlier on, I believe that Simon have shown you a third-party tools that we can actually use to measure the fundamental radiation from the environment. So let me repeat that by giving you a clearer picture. All right, so this is basically the noise or the sound that you can hear captured by this detector, all right? And we're specifically tuned to 72 megahertz because 72 megahertz is basically the operating frequency, all right? The aggregate operating frequency for the human brain. So let me repeat again, this is something that your ears cannot hear, but through devices like this, it is able to pick up the radiation. Now, when you turn on the emGuarde utilizes specific targeted harmonics frequencies to suppress targeted unwanted radiation from the background. Let me show to you what I mean. Okay, so obviously when you look at this two example, there is a very substantial suppression, from the chart itself. Later on, I will be explaining to you more during the laboratory test report. Okay, so this is how it works. emGuarde utilizes harmonic frequencies to effectively suppress targeted electromagnetic noise radiation between 3 to 1000 megahertz. Okay, now when we say between 3 to 1000, it is not the entire frequency spectrum. All right, it is targeted. All right, targeted. Now, which frequencies are the developers targeting? Let me show it to you in a clearer picture. So the multiple layering of harmonic frequencies is strategically programmed to target specific frequencies, at 36, 72, 108, 144, and 180, all right, and more, all the way up to 1000 megahertz. And this is actually a statement from the patent. You can actually see that the same frequencies is again mentioned in the patent itself. Now, do not ask me why the developer actually chooses some of these frequencies to suppress, all right? Because this is actually part of the core technology, and it is deemed as the trade secret between energic and the developer. okay, to actually protect this technology so that there won't be any competition around. Okay, so these are the frequencies mentioned in the patent, and I would like to show you again one of the most important statements from the patent as well, all right, that confirms that this thing is able to help or add value to the users. Okay, now there is one particular paragraph in the patent that says like this: it can therefore be summarized that the invention can effectively suppress the negative effects of electromagnetic radiation or microcirculation from either handheld cellular device or computers connected to wireless networks. Okay, so this is a very powerful statement, and in the patent itself, you can see that there are certain tests that they did, to the microcirculation of the finger from the test subject, and obviously there is a vast improvement after turning on the emGuarde technology. Okay, so don't worry about the slides. It will be given to you through the Telegram channel, and you can always visit the Telegram channel and download all these powerful materials for your marketing process. Okay. So now I'm going to bring you into a more technical explanation by showing you a short video on emGuarde, how emGuarde actually suppresses the radiation, all right, using this specific tools that we're using here. All right, let's watch the video before I proceed further. All right, so in this section of the video, I'm going to show you how emGuarde has the ability to alleviate the radiation from this LED light bulb 4 meters away from this antenna. Okay, so now, first of all, I would like you to see the screen. From the software itself, everything is clear before I turn on the LED. Now, as soon as I turn on the LED, as you can see, you can actually see that the noise field from the EM radiation comes back, and it's actually showing in this blue curvy line. Okay, so now I'm going to invite my team to take this emGuarde away from me for about 4 meters, okay, in radius. Okay, now I'm going to invite my team to power on the emGuarde. Just plug the USB-C, leave it on the table. Now, as soon as the emGuarde's on, as you can see, the frequency spectrum from the SDR software has been cleared away. Okay, now as soon as I unpower the emGuarde, please remove the power line from the emGuarde, just unplug. Wait for about 2 to 3 seconds. The radiation from the LED comes back immediately. Now let's do another control test by powering up the emGuarde again. Please put the USB-C power cable into the emGuarde. There you go. And immediately, as you can see, everything is cleared away. And this is to show you that emGuarde works effectively 4 meters away from this antenna. Okay, so I believe a picture paints 1,000 words. So during the demonstration, you can actually show to your prospects, this recorded video for them to understand and also to appreciate that emGuarde actually works effectively, in a given range. Now, this is the third topic of the day, and I deem it very important for you to master the knowledge of the demonstration tools as well. So what I have here today is, because you understand that electromagnetic radiation is invisible, you cannot feel it, you can't sense it. Same goes to the harmonic frequencies coming from the emGuarde. You cannot sense it as well. How it actually harmonizes the room. There's a reason why you need specific equipments, like the detector, to help you to show it to your prospects, all right, as a visual aid. So over here, I'll be strongly recommending both of these two in your emGuarde demonstration. Both of these demonstration tools, they are deemed as essential for your emGuarde business, okay? So the first demonstration tool that I'll be introducing to the market, it's the radiation detector 9300. Now, a quick story about this detector. This detector is actually a customized detector for the emGuarde demo. All right, it is very different from the other detectors out there because this detector is built to detect high frequency electromagnetic noise radiation at a very specific frequency range. Okay, so now this detector was originally built for the factory in order for them to perform the quality checking process, which is the QC process. And later on, it was then introduced to the market as a marketing tool because the marketers feel that they need tools like this to show to the customers the efficacy of the emGuarde harmonics frequency. So that's the reason why the detector was later on being introduced to the market, as a demonstration tools. So let me just dive deeper into this detector, all right? Earlier on in Simon's explanation, the detector has got two functions. Okay, it's a 1 dot and 2 dot function. So the 1 dot is basically to test the first energy from the power line. And for the emGuarde demo, the first dot is not needed, okay? So remain the detector on 2 dot setting for emGuarde demo. And for the 2 dot setting, there is two specific functions that you need to take note. Okay, so when you turn on to the 2 dot setting, the first function of the 2 dot setting is to detect high frequency electromagnetic noise radiation. So it will show you in power density, the LCD will turn into a different figure. Okay, so it represents the microwatts energy from the source. Now, when you turn on the emGuarde during the demonstration, it will then activate the second function of the 2 dot setting. Okay, so the second function is actually built to detect the harmonics suppression frequency coming from the emGuarde. Okay, so when the detector is able to receive the correct harmonics from the emGuarde, it will then turn to 0. Okay, to confirm that the emGuarde is actually harmonizing this environment within a 4-meter radius. Okay, now please take note that when this detector shows you 0 reading, it does not mean that there is no radiation at all in your environment. So during the demonstration, when you tell the customers that you see, now when you turn on the emGuarde, there is 0 radiation. Now this is an incorrect statement because the radiation coming from the transmission signal from the Wi-Fi and also the radiation coming from the power line, it's still there. It is still in the environment. All right, it's still in the environment. So please take note on this particular statement. All right. So now I'll be playing this short video. All right. And for you guys who missed this, you can just download the same file and the video will be made available in the same PPT as well. So in this short video, I'll be explaining to you how radiation detector 9300 it's able to measure different types of energy, from the non-ionizing spectrum. Let's view the video. Okay, in this video, I'm going to explain to you the 3 different types of energy by showing you a real demonstration using the RD9300. Now let's talk about the first energy. Now from my explanation in the training slides, the first energy is usually coming from a typical power source which is powered by AC power. Okay, because this power source is running on 50 Hertz to 60 Hertz and it's actually emitting extremely low frequencies energy, and the electric field and the magnetic field can be measured when you turn the RD setting to dot 1. Okay, when your RD is on 1 dot, you're able to measure the power density of the low frequency radiation coming from power source. For example, let's say, now before I turn on the multiple socket, as you can see, the reading from the radiation detector is 0. Okay, now once I turn it on, when there is power running through the AC socket, it is able to pick up certain level of radiation from this low frequency radiation energy. Now this energy is not so worrisome. You don't have to worry about this energy. It's because now this energy can be easily blocked by just a very thin slice of cardboard like this, as you can see. Let me just do another try. Okay, it's able to detect now. Just one thin slice of cardboard, you're able to block this type of low frequency electric and magnetic field energy. Okay, now let me put you into another perspective when I show you by using a handphone. Now this typical handphone produces 3 types of energy. Okay, so now the first energy is actually coming from, for example, now my detector is still on mode 1, and as you can see, before I put on the charger cable, the detector is not registering any radiation density. It's because there is no low frequency magnetic and electric field energy before I put on the charging cable. Now I'm going to invite my colleague to put on the charging cable. Just put it on. Okay, my phone is charging now, and it's beginning to pick up this energy coming from the AC power line. Okay, this is a 50-60 Hertz. Now, as soon as I unplug the charging cable, so this is how we discontinue the first energy coming from the AC socket. Okay, now the second energy is usually coming from the Wi-Fi. Okay, this is the mobile data, which is a 4G as usual, and this is the Wi-Fi. Okay, now but today, when I turn the detector to a 2 dot setting, now please remember that whenever you switch to 1 dot to 2 dot, please switch the detector off before you switch the mode, between 1 to 2. Okay, this is to prolong the lifespan of the detector as well. Okay, now I'm going to switch back to 2 dot, and 2 dot represents the detector is actually measuring high frequency electromagnetic noise radiation density. Now, to show you that this detector is measuring that, now before I turn my phone into airplane mode, okay, there is Wi-Fi and there is also the 4G mobile data. Okay, of course, the detector is able to pick up certain, density, but some people think that, this detector is actually picking up the Wi-Fi signal or maybe the 4G signal coming from a cell tower. Okay, now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to switch my phone into airplane mode, and by switching it to airplane mode, I'm actually discontinuing all my network connections to mobile data and Wi-Fi. Okay, now with this mode, now my phone is actually on airplane mode and it's no longer receiving any Wi-Fi data or 4G data. Now, let me show you what happens. My detector is still on 2 dot, and if you notice, it is still picking up reading and it's averaging at about 1,400 to about 2,000 microwatts. Okay, now this scenario happens because the radiation detector 9300, when it's on the 2 dot function, it is actually built to register or to capture the electromagnetic noise radiation density coming from the internal circuit board and also the battery itself. Okay, so this detector is actually built to read or to capture or to measure the third energy coming from the training slides. Okay, so now with
Alright, so with this, I would like to re-emphasize that the most of the detectors you get from the marketplace or from the e-commerce website, they are either measuring the first energy, which is coming from the power line, or they are actually measuring the second energy coming from the transmission signal, from all the antennas, antenna built devices. And the RD9300 is specifically built to detect the byproduct of these two energy, which is in the form of electromagnetic noise radiation. So there's a reason why this detector is unique, and it is built to do this specific job. Okay? All right. And of course, emGuarde, again, is an innovative product. It is very new in the market. And there's a reason why we also need a very specific tools to actually see this. And for those people who want a third-party explanation, let's say you need a third-party tool. Of course, the SDR devices, these two SDR devices that Simon uses earlier on during the demonstration, now these are all third-party tools that you can actually get it from the e-commerce website. All right. Now, there's a tip for those people who wants to get the RD9300. Now, during the demonstration, please remember that the radiation detector 9300 is not suitable to determine the coverage range of the emGuarde, okay, due to static interference. And let me show you what I mean through a short video.
So in this video, we will be explaining how static affects sensitive equipment like the Audi. So now, I'm going to use the Audi to scan the phone, as you can see. So it's picking up radiation reading. But as soon as I turn on the emGuarde, as you can see, the white LED light is on. So this represents that the emGuarde harmonics is in function. So I'm going to move all the way back just to show you that emGuarde can actually covers up to that range. Okay, it's further away from the table. So what we're going to do next is we're going to turn on the static ball. And as soon as I turn on the static ball, I'm going to show you that, the static, it's able to trigger the RD to beep. Okay, so once I scan the phone and I go near to the static ball, the RD9100 begins to beep again, although it is within the coverage range of the emGuarde. Okay, it's very near, it's less than 1 meter. But as soon as I move away from the static ball, as you can see, the radiation detector stops beeping because emGuarde still function. It's just that whenever we go near to a static area, the RD9100 will get affected by the static and it begins to beep again.
So the purpose of this training is to show you that during the demonstration, if you are using this particular equipment to do the demonstration, now although it is within the emGuarde's harmonization zone, sometimes the detector will still beep, when the emGuarde is on, and it's actually due to static. Okay.
Now, I got this from Google, and it goes like this. Due to the construction materials and design characteristics of a radiation detector, the static electricity can also affect other components, and hence, in such event, leading to false readings and stuff like that. All right. So whenever you do an emGuarde demo with the 9300, do not get panicked. Whenever the detector beeps, although the emGuarde is turned on. Because it could be due to static interference. All right. Now, a better equipment for you to determine the coverage range of the emGuarde during the installation of emGuarde is actually the SDR devices. Okay, it is from third-party manufacturer, and this devices is actually static proof. The static would not affect, the detection of the emGuarde's harmonic. So this is actually a very strongly recommended tool for you to use during your emGuarde demonstration. First of all, the SDR devices can showcase the fundamental radiation from the background, all right, in the forms of megahertz. At the same time, when you turn on the emGuarde, it is also able to detect the targeted suppression harmonics from the emGuarde. So that's the reason why you can actually see the suppression, from the SDR interface during the demonstration or during the earlier videos that Simon and I did back in Hong Kong. Okay, so now for those people who would love to get on hold on this detector, very easy. You can just go to your e-commerce, follow the technical specs, and the version of this SDR device, all right? And we've got the link below. And even if you visit our official YouTube channel, there is a video teaching you how to install this specific tools into your Android phone. All right. Now, the good news is for Android user, you're able to use this too. And the bad news is for iPhone user, the application is not available for Apple users. Okay, so for Apple users, do not worry. All you need to do is to get the second SDR devices as shown on the screen. This is the Bajaj SDR setup. All right, so this is actually a built-in SDR detector. You do not need to connect the SDR to a phone like an Android. It's a plug and play, it's rechargeable, and it's very easy to use. Okay, so we have actually posted all this different information in the Telegram channel as well. So for those people who wants to learn how to set it up, the PDF is available in the Telegram channel. You can learn it, how to tune it, how to set it to the correct settings for your emGuarde demonstration. Okay, so these two SDR devices, it's strongly recommended for you to use it during your emGuarde installation process to verify the harmonization process that it can actually cover at least 4 meters. Okay, now for some of you, in different places, let's say you cannot grab hold of this detector, maybe you can actually make full use of this laboratory testing report as well. Now, we've got people around the world. emGuarde has actually launched about 1.5 years from now, okay? And there are distributors around the world that they actually use this particular testing report to close sale, all right? So you can actually use this as well. Now, the report came out on the 10th of July, 2024. This is one of the latest report. We've got an earlier report which has been done, by using a power bank to power up the emGuarde. All right. Now this is the latest report, and in this report, it is actually tested in the University of Science of Malaysia by Dr. Yam Man Fai, and Dr. Yam Man Fai, it's a 4 PhD holder. Okay. So the test title is the effective range of radio frequency white noise suppression of electromagnetic radiation harmonizer. And in this particular test, the objective is to evaluate, how far can the emGuarde harmonizes the environment in the range of 1 meter all the way to 6 meters in radius. Now, I'd like to make a very important point here, because energic, being a Japanese company, they are very conservative. So they are telling all the users that emGuarde is actually able to cover up to 4 meters in radius. But for the matter of fact, in the laboratory testing, they're actually putting emGuarde into tests, and it is all the way up to at least 6 meters all in radius. And let me show you some of the data, captured in the test. So this is a specific test they did, at 71 megahertz and 73, because this is actually the frequencies within the operating frequencies of the brain. And from the left-hand side, these are the environment tested, by the PhD doctor, and of course, all of his subordinates as well. So they are testing the emGuarde in the residential space. They are testing the emGuarde in the working offices, and of course, laboratory in different settings. And of course, the first column you see here is emGuarde off. So when the emGuarde is off, this is the actual decibel captured in the environment using a very specific tools. Okay, and the emGuarde is on, so they actually collect data starting from 1 meter radius all the way up to 6 meter in radius. And I want you to take a look at the percentages of suppression for residential space. Okay, now the suppression percentages, it's averaging beyond 90%. If you notice, all the way from 1 meter all the way up to 6 meter in radius. And this is actually a documentation to confirm that emGuarde is able to harmonize the environment at least up to 6 meter in radius. Okay, now further on, there are more data from the report that you can read it, during your free time. Okay, I'll be sending all this to you. So these are all the different data captured in different environment, different spaces as well. And these are the setups. And a quick conclusion from the report. The emGuarde electromagnetic noise radiation harmonizer successfully reduced unwanted electromagnetic noise wave between all these targeted frequencies. And these are the frequencies, again, made mention in the patent as well. Okay, so this is what emGuarde does, all right? It is able to harmonize, within a given range, and this is the report that prove, that it can do it. Now, last but not least, for those people who are seeing this for the first time, now I know that it's very hard for you to even recreate your own marketing material because there's lots of things to learn. And because of that, we're here to help you, all right? Now, we're here to advise you to leverage on all the marketing resources that we have been creating, for the past 2 years. Now, the first QR code, please take a picture or a screenshot on your laptops. The first QR code you're seeing on the screen here is actually the official emGuarde Telegram channel, where you get to download all the different documents like the PowerPoint presentations and all the related videos, created by us as well. The second QR code will lead you to the official emGuarde website. Also, this website is actually pretty good and pretty useful for people who wants to send some information to your new prospects. All right, for example, let's say you got someone new to this and, what sort of information should they be exposed to? So the emGuarde.com, it's there to help you, all right? There is a video built specifically to explain, in a simpler manner of how emGuarde works, and there is lots of information in the website as well. And of course, the FAQ, there will be a Q&A and FAQ slides in the emGuarde.com website, all right? Now, followed by the third QR code is the emGuarde library. Now, this is where we place all the huge files, like the PPT and the videos. Files that you can download to your computer, and it comes in a huge, megabytes. So you can download the bigger files in the emGuarde library. And last but not least, for all the interesting videos that Simon and I has captured, is also made available in the emGuarde official YouTube channel. So you can scan the last QR code to get access to the YouTube channel for more videographic information. Okay? So with that, my time is up, and I hope that you get value from all this information. And now, you might not need this information today because it's very technical. But trust me, down the road, when you meet more technical prospects, you'll begin to appreciate that this information and this slides that I have here might be able to help you to close your sale to a more technical person. Okay, with that, I'd like to pass the time and floor back to Simon to explain to you more on the business side. Thank you very much for paying attention to my session, and I'll see you very soon. See you guys. Back to you, Simon.
Thank you very much, David. Guys, if you've received a lot of value from David's session, give him a number 8 in the chat box, because everything that I learned, initially when David was talking to me about all these, I don't know what and what, I was like, oh my God, David, this is too much. I can't understand it. But then when I went into the market and when I fire my gun, I got more guns firing back. I didn't know how to respond. And that's where I truly, truly appreciated the information and the research that took David and his team about 6.5 years together, and we're getting all of this for free. And it's worth $1 million if you ask me. So truly appreciate you, David, for all this information. And we are glad that this whole Zoom would be recorded and posted on the Telegram group. Okay, so let's get into the next session without any further ado. Let's get to the exciting part, where I'm gonna discuss with you the business side and the commission. Who's excited? Type 1 in the chat box if you're with me. Some of you were feeling too much information. You're being bombarded, but it's okay. Now come back. We're gonna go to the more exciting part. Okay. So just now there were a few questions in the Zoom chat group that asked about commissions, about 8 points, about how all this works. Everything is going to be in the next 10, 15 minutes. So number one, we know what is the selling price of the emGuarde. Ordering process, what is the courier charges, what is the shipping charges. Refer back to your local office, whether you're in Canada or US, or find out all the information through your DSS portal, your website. Okay, it's all there. Now, per person, emGuarde allows one person under one name to purchase up to 5 emGuardes. Okay, 5 emGuardes. Now, out of the 5 emGuardes, only one can become a distributor account. So far, so good. So 5 emGuardes, one can be a distributor account. So 4 have to be users. And the question is, do I get commissions from the users? Absolutely. It's just like you're selling to a user. So everything pays commission, but let's say you buy 5, only one can be a distributor account. So some of you who are coming in with multiple positions, only one can be an emGuarde. The rest can be an Wukon, an Anaspa, of course, the Kangen machine. So far, so good. Okay, number 3, enroller system not applicable. There's no enroller for emGuarde. That is for people that has a sale many levels down and you want to enroll maybe your top account many levels up. However, if you were to sell an emGuarde directly, let's say my ID is 100, Simon, I sell an emGuarde today directly to, let's say, I sell it to Adam. When Adam buys an emGuarde, my SP gets renewed for 90 days, just like a Kangen machine. Okay? So we can actually maintain the SP status of our accounts by selling an emGuarde. And if you ask me, it's easier to sell one emGuarde than one Kangen machine. Price difference and all that stuff. All right. So it's very easy to maintain our accounts with the emGuarde sales. No education bonus and 1 unit sales count for 1A to 5A. This is the exciting part. Now, I've literally used this to really bump up a lot of my sales and bring in, I brought in a lot of new leaders into my team in the last 1.5 years. Let me explain why. Now, who would agree with me that, now I've been in the electromagnetic business for 8 years. Some of you may be newer than me or older than me in the business, but I've been in the business for 8 years. And what I noticed was something that most people that give up in the business is because they don't even get to 2A or 3A. Okay? They don't even get past that 2, 3, 4, 5 sales. All right? Who agrees to this statement? Type 2 in the chat box. They don't get there. But the moment they get to 4A, 5A, what normally happens? They go all the way. Okay? That is what I've noticed in my last 8 years. So what I've done was I was using emGuarde as a fast track tool to get people to go from 1A all the way to 5A, because before this, we had to have 50 group sales to become 5A in Kangen, right? But now with 50 emGuardes, you become a 5A as well. And emGuarde is only selling for $1,500, where the K8 is $5,000. So obviously there's a price difference, and it's going to be easier to sell the emGuarde. And it's going to be easier for new people to rank up to 4A, 5A quick. Okay, but notice, why did I put there 1A to 5A? Because when you want to get to 6A, remember, emGuarde has a sales value requirement of 300K, all right, $300,000. So if you calculate emGuarde, even if you sell 100 emGuardes, that's only how much? 148,000 US dollars of sales value. Am I making sense? Type 1 if I'm making sense. So if you sell 100 emGuardes, that doesn't qualify you for 6A because you don't have $300,000 of sales value. Okay, so you have to mix and match. You have to get in the machines, the Wukon and all that. But the emGuarde is a great way to get people started and to get people to the next ranks fast. Okay, so 0.5 unit sales count for 6A rank up month. What does that mean? For those of you who are going to 6A, who here you're going to 6A? Maybe you're 5A, you're going to 6A. Type 5A in the chat box. Okay, you're going to 6A, or maybe you're 4A, whatever, right? You're going to 6A. So when in the month of rank up, remember, for you to get your 3,000 US dollars of bonus, emGuarde is counted only as 0.5 unit sales count, which means you need 10 group sales in a month to receive your bonus. So if you do 20 emGuardes, because one is 0.5, then you qualify. Making sense? So emGuarde in that month is considered 0.5. So if you want to get your $3,000, and if it's all emGuarde, it has to be 20 emGuardes. Or mix and match, right? Machines, emGuarde, Wukon, and you mix it up. 6A and above bonus is also considered 0.5. There's no pass up. It's not like the Wukon, meaning you don't need an emGuarde account to earn emGuarde commission. As of this today, you have your own account. you buy your emGuarde or you sell your emGuarde, you get paid the 8-point commission, very much like the Kangen machine or NSPA, and there's no E8PA member discount. So these are the fundamental rules. Okay, good question. Somebody asked, is it working with 5G? I'll cover that later on. I have a special slide for that. Yeah, I'll cover that later on. I think it was not answered just now. Okay, let's focus on the commissions first. So now the commission of emGuarde, currently the commission amount is all in Ringgit Malaysia. Okay, Ringgit Malaysia. So Bob asked, what about between 5 to 6A? Remember, you need 2 requirements to 6A, 100 group sales, okay, and $300,000. So emGuarde is still counted as one group sale. Okay, but the sales value is what you need to pay attention. You must have 100 group sales and $300,000 sales volume, then you go up to 6A. Okay, the reason why I didn't put there 1A to 6A is to avoid confusion, because you can't be a 6A by only having 100 emGuardes alone. I hope I'm very clear. Okay, now the only difference between the emGuarde and the Kangen machine is the commission amount. Now, there are 2 types of accounts that exist in enagic today since the launch of emGuarde. I don't know why there's balloons coming out of my screen. I don't know. All right, so there's 2 types of accounts that comes out in the enagic system. One is the Kangen account and one is the emGuarde account. Now, the emGuarde account means somebody that only bought the emGuarde to start the business. Okay? They don't own a Wukong, they don't own a Kangen, none of that. A Kangen account are the accounts that you guys have. All of us here own Kangen machines, right? So we have a Kangen account. So emGuarde account, 1A commission is 305 ringgit Malaysia, approximately $60. I round it down a little bit because of exchange rate and all those kind of stuff. But the moment emGuarde is launched later on in the US, you will get the commission amount from your office. So now we do a daily conversion, about $60, 1A. Now, if you have a Kangen account, which is most of us here, or all of us here, 1A is 392 ringgit, about $80. And once again, I round it down. Okay, because when an overseas commission gets paid, I think there's about a 10% processing fee by enagic. Okay, so somebody asked Katie, if somebody restarts their business on a new team being inactive, would it be still considered an emGuarde account or a Kangen account? Katie, it will be considered an emGuarde account. So for them to get back to Kangen account, they can either buy an emGuarde and an Wukong, because the moment you have an emGuarde account and the moment you buy a Wukong or a Kangen or an NSPA under the same name, it upgrades both the accounts to Kangen account. Am I clear so far? All right, so this is put in place by Mr. Ashiro to make sure that people that you recruit into the business with emGuarde also buys their Kangen machine, which is good for us. Yeah. So let me share with you, would you guys like to learn how I built my business with emGuarde? If you want to learn, type 2 in the chat box, my structure. Now, every team you have your own strategy. I don't want to teach you guys too many things. Go back to your own team leaders. But what I do is I get people to come onto the emGuarde. They sell about 20 emGuardes. 20 emGuardes. That puts you at 4A. What happens? When you're at 4A, I get them to buy their Kangen machine, because when they get their Kangen machine, not only it will upgrade their emGuarde account to Kangen account, they buy their Kangen machine, they get back 4 points for the company, so it becomes cheaper to invest in the machine. All right, that's number 1. Number 2, I get people to come with emGuarde and Wukong at the start, so they make the top commission at the start, and when they become 4A, they get the KA. So that's what I do. I keep it very simple, but again, up to you guys. Okay, so far so good. All right. So Mina says, if I have an emGuarde account and I sold a Kangen machine, will my commission change as well? Yes. So an emGuarde account would receive approximately 78% on all the other products sold. So if you want to earn 100% both on the emGuarde, Kangen, NSPA, and everything else, you must upgrade yourself to Kangen account. Okay? Must go up. All right? Cool. Okay, so the difference is about 20-something percent. Abby asks, is emGuarde available in Mexico? Yes. In fact, I did a Zoom for the Mexican distributors just 2 days ago. So the same thing that applies for US, the same thing applies for Mexico. You can talk to the Mexican office. Good. So coming to the last 5 minutes of today's Zoom, I hope you guys. Brian asks, is there compression commission like Wukong? No, there's no compression commission. Same thing like the Kangen machine. There's no compression. Natalie asks, if you buy K8 and emGuarde, and the emGuarde goes in first with the K8 under, is that a Kangen account? Yes. Yes. Okay, both ways. You can get a K8, emGuarde, as long as it's the same name, Natalie. It has to be the same name. Okay, so the let's say the K8 goes in, the emGuarde comes in. If it's the same name, it's Kangen account. If the emGuarde goes in, the K8 comes in, same name, Kangen account. So it doesn't matter. Okay, so let me conclude today's session with my favorite session. It's called the eNRGy 2.0 that we spoke about at the start. And I always like to ask every counts towards trifecta. Not sure what that means, but probably yes, right? So you can do like an emGuarde Ukon machine, something like that. Yeah, because it's a product, right? It's an account. It's just that the commission difference. But if you come in with a trifecta, like you guys do it in North America, because when you have the emGuarde account on the top, when you have the Ukon, directly mix both emGuarde accounts, so it's great. Okay, emGuarde can be purchased in Canada, and I travel to Germany. I can take it along, use it there, no restriction. No, it's no restriction because it's USB. Okay, now my question to everybody here is, what if, this big question, what if you knew about Kangen before it was launched in your country years ago? Like, I know eNRGy has been in America for the last 20 years. So my question to everybody, which I would love for you to participate, is what if you knew about eNRGy more than 20 years ago, and you knew about Kangen water before anybody in Canada and the US know about it? Would your life be very different today if you knew about it a long time ago? Type yes in the chat box if you would love to be in that position 20 years ago. I mean, you could be like a, I don't know, Romy Videra, Cynthia Briganti, those not old guys. I would like to say old guys, but old in the business, right? So the thing is this, I would have loved to be in that position. Of course, everybody. But the thing is, we don't have a time machine. I don't think any of you have this in your garage, right? I don't have one. So we can't go back in the past. So what occurred to me was when I saw emGuarde for the first time 1.5 years ago, when I saw it, I was like, I may not be the first to know about Kangen in Malaysia, but I can be the first person that bring this emGuarde to the next level in my country and other countries that I'm involved in. So I can choose to become the pioneer today, because the emGuarde, when I saw the emGuarde, it is my time machine. All right. Linda asks, is there financing plans in Canada? Not yet, because you're buying it from Malaysia, one-time payment. Okay. So I looked at emGuarde as my time machine, that I don't care whether I'm the first in eNRGy or how many years I've been involved. But today, some of you who are even 1A, 2A, 3A, you don't have to be 6A2 and all that. You can decide to become a pioneer of emGuarde, and many people have done it. And what I saw in Malaysia and other of the countries that I've been to, that I've seen distributors overtaking the sales figures of their uplines and their uplines and all the other people, because they took action. Okay? Because they took action. And they become like one of the top sellers. And they are not even 6A. Some of them are 5A, 4A, some 6A, some 6A2. And they sell a lot more than the Dash 3s and the Dash 4s. So it's all about the decision. Okay? So investor, somebody asked, are they in stock in Germany? Yep. Germany is the main hub for emGuarde in the whole Europe. So emGuarde is available in Europe. All the products are in Germany. Okay. Natalie asked, where can you get the recording? Same thing, Telegram group. Can somebody share the Telegram group link once again for the late joiners? Okay. Everything will be centralized into one. The next one, ladies and gentlemen, is it is a compelling product. Let me ask you this. After what I've shared with you today, all right, and David shared with you today, is the emGuarde a compelling product? Means when you see it, you're like, wow. If it is, type 1 in the chat box. Is it a compelling product? Compelling means when you see it, you're like, wow. Let's say I'm selling you a vitamin C. How compelling can a vitamin C be? It's a vitamin C. Try it, take it, you like it, buy it. It's not compelling. All right. But I like to sell products that are compelling. Kangen machines are compelling. emGuarde is compelling. When I show it to people, they go, wow. All right. And more importantly, for me, it is a demo-able product. Just now, a lot of you asked the question, what is the difference, which David covered? What is the difference between emGuarde and the other anti-radiation? I put open and inverted corner, anti-radiation products in the market. What is the main difference? The main difference is emGuarde is the only product that I have seen that is able to be demoed. I created the word called demo-able. Most of these products in the market, go do your research. There's some from Germany, some from the US, not many, few. You can't do any demonstrations. all you need to do is to rely on their brochures and their websites. What does the product do? And how do you see what the product does? You don't know. Okay? So this is a powerful, powerful, powerful point of the emGuarde. All right? It is a demo-able product. And one of my favorite things, I think somebody asked if a company wants to buy for the employees, but there is only a limit of 5 of one name. How do we go about this? Not sure. Check with your local branch. Very hard to answer. Do you have any idea how much with the shipment? I think it's about $150 US dollars, okay, for Canada and US. Okay, again, go to your DSS. Bob asked, may I ask when emGuarde joined the enagic plan? About when may I ask when emGuarde joined to enagic plan? Don't quite understand what that question is, but I think you mean when did emGuarde come into enagic? About 1.5 years ago. Started in Asia, then Europe, then now US. 1.5 years ago. Okay, coming back here. Lower entry cost to bring in new network marketers into the business, leading to more Kangen machine sales. Now, I don't know about you guys in the West. You guys probably make a lot more money than us here. Our income level in most parts of Southeast Asia is not the highest. It's not bad, but people don't make a lot of money here. And a lot of us have a challenge that a lot of people can't come into the business at the price of a SD501 or a K8. So when emGuarde was launched here, the first thing I did was I went back to all the people that couldn't come into the Kangen business, and they came in with the emGuarde because it is a level that they can come into the business. And I believe the most important thing is to get people to get started. Because once they get started, once they make enough money from the business, buying a K8, buying an SD501 is not a problem. Okay? If you guys agree with me, type 2 in the chat box. This is what I do. So it's easy. All right? And it's a great tool to revive idle distributors in your network. I have over 8,000 people in my organization, and I would be lying to you to tell you that every single one of them are active. They're not. And a lot of them are just, they sold like 100, 200 machines and they're done. So they want something new. And what I did was I went back to them, showed them the emGuarde, and a lot of them, they were inactive for a year or two, or maybe some even 3, 4, 5 years inactive. They got started again. All right, so it's great. Okay, taxes, you have to check with your import duty of each country. I think for most countries, it's about 10%. So just Google it, find out import duty of Canada or US. It should be a standard amount. Is there a warranty for emGuarde? Answer is yes. The warranty is 1 year. Once again, download the FAQ. It's all there. Life expectancy, 5 years minimum or more. Refer to the FAQ. Thanks very much. Okay. And lastly, before we go, we're going to talk about this word called duplication. I always look at duplication as how we grow our money. Let's say you put your money in the bank and the bank pays you 2 to 3% a year in interest. So every year your money grows by 2 to 3%. Now, would it be good if I have a bank that pays you 2 to 3% a month? That will make you filthy rich. Am I right? So duplication is just like that in the enagic or network marketing business. If you can duplicate your team fast, that's where you're going to grow a lot faster. So one thing I saw with emGuarde is when the moment people buy their device, the moment they get the tools they require, they start doing the sales and the demonstration immediately. So I have immediate duplication in my team with the emGuarde. All right. Of course, we put in our training and all that. So it's an easier product to get people get started. All right. So these are the few simple messages that I would like to share with you guys. All right. And the rest is up to you. Lots of information on the Telegram group. It will probably take you a couple of days to go through all of it. But once you understand it, 5G question. Thank you, Carly, for reminding me. So I'm going to share with you guys one more thing before I go. Okay. So if you have any questions, most of them will be answered in the FAQ. So refer to the FAQ. And now I'm going to share you this. I hope you guys can see my screen, yeah? Good. So this is actually from the Nokia website. Go to the Nokia website, okay, .com. You will find this. Now, is 5G already in the US and Canada? I believe so, right? It's already there in most countries. It's there. So again, a lot of people ask, Simon, does the emGuarde protect us from the 5G? Now, first of all, we have to understand that 5G has a lot of different bands. We call it band. Low band, mid band, high band. 4 different types of band. Now, the highest band is 24 to 40 gigahertz. And remember, 1 gigahertz is 1,000 megahertz. So far, so good? 1 gigahertz is 1,000 megahertz, okay? So 24 gigahertz also means 24,000 megahertz. That is the highest band of 5G, 24 to 40. Mid band, 3.5 to 6. Mid band, 1 to 2.6. And take a look at the low band, below 1 giga. Now, the simple answer to you guys, whether the emGuarde protects us from the 5G, answer is yes, only for the low and the mid band. Any frequency that is 1 gigahertz and below, not the high band. Now, there's a few things that you have to understand here. Number one, frequency that has a higher band travels shorter than frequency that has a lower band. That's why when they send out a radio frequency to Voyager 1 that is outside interstellar, they use a very low radio frequency because it travels very far. So when we had 2G and 3G, you only needed one tower in your community for it to give all the signals to the whole town. But once they went to 4G, what happens? More cell towers started coming up. Because why? The higher bands travel shorter distances. Now 5G, what happens? You have it popping every single corner. Okay, so the higher bands travel lowest. That's number one. So the lower bands travel the furthest. So you need to protect yourself from the lower band because the lower band travels further. Okay, that's number one. Number two, remember, what range of frequency does the body absorb most of its energy? Can somebody type it out in the chat box? What is the range of frequency that the body absorbs most of the energy? It is 30 to 300 megahertz. Thank you very much. So it is the lower band that you need to protect yourself from. Am I making sense? Is this a clear explanation? All right. So you shouldn't be too worried about it. I wouldn't say there's no danger. I wouldn't say there's zero danger. But the thing is, emGuarde protects you from the frequencies that harms us the most, that our body is most vulnerable to. All right. So that is it from today's Zoom. I'm just going to stop the recording.